The Alpha Canine Group, pioneering new and exciting standards for realistic dog training methods, practical canine behavioural rehabilitation, and professional hands-on handler and trainer education. Alpha Boarding School for Dogs offers a viable training and behaviour shaping alternative for those who are unable to attend weekly training sessions or for those wanting to jumpstart the training process. Once we've picked up your dog from your home, it then stays with us for 10 or 20 days, depending on the course selected. Some dogs may require longer courses depending on their behavioural issues, particularly if they are aggressive towards their owners or intensely aggressive to strangers, but as a general rule, dogs requiring longer stays are few and far between. You will see here that the training is always done under distraction. This way the dogs learn to listen and follow their handlers. During the training process, our trainers also swap dogs so that dogs learn to listen to different people, not just one person. This is an important process that helps transfer the training over to the owners during the 2 to 3 hour handback session in their own home. Alpha Boarding School for Dogs currently has 7 full-time and 2 part-time trainers training and caring for all the dogs that stay with us. There are so many distractions that we introduce into the training. Walking calmly through the trainer's own dogs at reception is just one measure of how well the dogs in for training are progressing.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
The drop step away is one of the most important commands your dog can learn, and it forms a foundation of trust and understanding between the owner and their dog. What you are watching now is a young, boisterous and excitable Pugalier holding his drop step away. He is working on a flat collar and is totally off lead whilst ignoring all the commands given to the other dogs as they are being trained around him. This exercise is part of his 20-day course requirement, where he will learn to hold this position for 1 hour under similar distraction. On the 10-day course, dogs are taught to hold their drop step away for 20 minutes. The reliability of this important exercise is then demonstrated to the owners when we return their dogs home again, and it doesn't matter if there are children, other dogs or cats running around. We then teach the owners these new obedience skills under the same realistic and relevant distractions. Alpha Boarding School for Dogs has developed proven teaching strategies around the handback session in the owner's home that demonstrate how to maintain the obedience training and manners. This boisterous Irish setter is going through a handback session in country Victoria. Alpha Boarding School for Dogs is a service that caters to dog owners all around Melbourne, Victoria and beyond. We've even had dogs travel from interstate for our boarding school service, but we now have an interstate private tuition alternative that is more practical for both the owners and the dogs. The owners here are now learning the handling techniques in their own home, with a little puppy adding some welcome distraction into the session. All the owners get to have a go and are involved in the handback. As the session progresses, we move on to off-lead obedience and the all-important canine good behaviour shaping, manners that really matter. For instance, teaching the dog to wait patiently at the back door until invited inside again. Training around other animals such as sheep, ponies and cats also allows the trainers to establish more creative and stimulating distractions for their training sessions. At Alpha Boarding School for Dogs, we have found that challenging the obedience and good behaviour shaping in novel and bustling situations best prepares the dog for the distractions that will be encountered once home again. Another reason to train the dogs around other animals is that it is a great way to stimulate predatory or defensive behaviours that may be lurking underneath. This then gives the trainers a valuable opportunity to rehabilitate the behaviour whilst we have the dog in for training. This young Labradoodle is obviously spooked by the ponies, so he is being trained nearby so he can become more accepting of their presence. This type of training scenario allows us to apply our effective and practical methods to achieve positive outcomes by establishing high levels of trust and clear and consistent leadership. Whether a dog exhibits fearful, predatory or aggressive behaviour towards other animals or people, we have proven that trust and leadership are the most important factors in achieving successful rehabilitation. We are now looking at the Labradoodle again in the same situation with the ponies that had startled it earlier in this video. You can see one of the ponies rubbing against the gate and the dog is now interested in what is going on. not jumpy or fearful. This footage is about 10 days into a 20-day course, and the dog is listening to the trainer and feeling more confident now that trust and leadership have been established. Now he's taken outside the gate to get up close and more personal. You can see that he's taking everything in his stride and virtually touches his nose against the ponies. His confidence is steady as the pony moves around. There is still no panicking. And then, just to make sure everything is fine, the trainer changes things up a bit by presenting the ponies in a different environment. As you can see, again the dog takes it all in his stride, listening to the trainer, confident as ever. The dog we are looking at now has well-established aggression towards people, his owners included. This is the type of aggression that sometimes requires us to keep a dog longer, so we can not only bond with them, but so we can also use the extra time to proof them in different scenarios. You will notice that this dog is showing signs of fear and apprehension, but on his home turf he is far more dominant and actively aggressive to anyone who comes in the house. Basically, he has been allowed to develop this aggressive behaviour over a 3-year period, and he is now at the stage of showing no bite inhibition whatsoever. Our trainer here is checking to see if his aggression is as bad as the owners described, as often this isn't the case, even with some of the more intense dogs. In this case, however, they were right.
So as you see, Jack will bite. Sit. Good boy.
So now we have an aggressive dog on our hands. Our first step is to train the dog on head halter, and then for those dogs attending the 20-day course, we move to off-lead training. Dogs exhibiting any form of aggression need to do the 20-day course. When dealing with dogs such as this one in particular, you again need to develop trust in the relationship if you are to be seen as a leader. Our obedience and good behaviour shaping methods are focused on this relationship and help the dog to settle down without trying to be in charge all the time. This is a huge turnaround for this dog, who is for the first time in his life choosing to follow rather than resisting and aggressively lashing out. This is what we call the transition phase, and as the new leadership is applied at home by the owners, the dog can finally begin to relax. The trust developed during the training process shows a complete contrast compared to the first clip in this video.
Good boy. Good boy.
Just let her do it.
Now we have a dog with a completely different set of behavioural issues. On her first day in for a 20-day course, we can see intense and aggressive behaviour towards the ponies, and a little later we will see the same outbursts towards other dogs. Despite this less than perfect starting point, we can still teach the dog what is acceptable and unacceptable behaviour. This wouldn't matter whether it was aggressive, fearful, anxious or overexcitable. The Canine Leadership System is the product of what we call Canine R&D Active, a hands-on approach to developing methods that can be proven to work time and time again, with virtually any dog of varying age, breed or disposition. This means that we apply our theories, obedience training and canine behavioural rehabilitation strategies whilst working with real owners and their very real dogs, often with very real behavioural issues. Look at how attentive and calm the dog is now. It is because of all the hands-on research and development that has gone on over the last 15 years, since 1996, that has allowed us to observe many exciting canine behavioural and learning responses that seem to exceed the accepted and academic opinions of the day. What I mean here is that we can often achieve very positive outcomes to problem canine behaviour that is often considered to be abnormal or beyond help, particularly by food reward methods. We are continually offering second opinions to owners who have been told that their dogs require drug therapy, or that they will just have to accept and manage their dog's behaviour as it is. More often than not, we can show that there is a more realistic approach that can be taken if owners are willing to do the work. As you can see here, the dog is now on a flat training collar and following the trainer, who is clearly now a leader in the dog's eyes. The dog is now a little intimidated by the ponies because she can't try to control the situation anymore, but again, she is willing to follow, listening to the trainer and sticking by her side. This is a huge change of attitude and now the perfect start to behavioural rehabilitation. Now we'll look at this same dog displaying aggression to other dogs. It is her first day of training and again, her behavioural outbursts are intense. Again, you will see her on a flat collar in the same scenario 10 days later, and then walking calmly and confidently through the kennel reception area with the trainer's own dogs and a once dog-aggressive dachshund roaming free around her. Through proven, Alpha developed concepts such as the pattern learning training method, reinforcement contrast effect, canine good behaviour shaping, reinforcement crossover consistency, and the reset learning principle, we can achieve consistent and positive outcomes that effectively interrupt any dog's behavioural outbursts. Boarding school is a genuine training option, but the owners still need to follow the important guidelines taught during the handback session in their own home. We have many success stories, but that is because the owners we work with continue on with the leadership obedience and canine good behaviour shaping they have been taught under the supervision of a professional trainer.
That's it.
Alpha Boarding School for Dogs is a great start to the training or behavioural rehabilitation process for happy-go-lucky or problem dogs. We can give you the tools, the plans, and we'll show you how to build it. But like any other form of effective training method, you still have to build it. But one thing's for sure, it's much easier if the methods are relevant, practical, and actually work. You can visit us at www.caninecommunicators.com.au.